Hey guys, I'm your friendly neighborhood ghost dad.
And I'm your unfriendly neighborhood sad pretty boy.
And this is Pros and Cons, where today we're gonna rant about books we hate. I really hate Hamlet.
Isn't that the name of the play?
Yeah.
Did you ghostwrite it?
Bitch, maybe.
Jesus Christ.
No, okay, so I have this problem where if I start reading a book, I have to finish that book. It wastes a whole bunch of time, but I have to do it neuroses. Most of the books I'm going to talk about today, I read for class, because as an English major, you read a lot of books, and most of them you end up hating.
Only one of the books I will be talking about today I had to read for class. The others are just because I'm masochistic.
Who wants to start?
Go for it.
Good, because I have like 5 books on my list. Maybe
Two of them are Hamlet.
two of them are Hamlet. Okay, I'm going to preface this with, I don't hate Hamlet as much as I say I hate Hamlet. I could read Hamlet and not be super angry about it, but I still hate Hamlet. I find, specifically because I don't like Hamlet as a character, which I don't think you're supposed to. So, good on you, Shakespeare, you did something right. But I don't like Hamlet as a character, and the issue is he's the titular character of the play. So you follow him along out of the play.
I will admittedly, to everybody and God, I have not read Hamlet. I kind of keep pushing it back because I'm like, shouldn't I read that?
You should keep pushing it back and then just never read Hamlet.
I'll read it when I'm dead.
See, this is funny because one of our friends loves Hamlet, and I respect her opinion, don't understand it. Hamlet is about a whiny, pretty boy who is both courageous and also not courageous.
We're not talking about Romeo and Juliet.
See the issue? Thinks too much, but also doesn't think too much, and loves all of these traits in other people, but hates it when it comes to himself. Which, I mean, happens. It happens, Hamlet. I get it. But why do you have to scream to your mom to go get thee to a nunnery? Why do you have to lead your girlfriend to kill herself? There's a lot of things happening here that could be solved by you just taking a chill pill and slowing the fuck down.
So what I'm hearing is that Hamlet really needed to smoke some weed.
Oh my god. And see, thing about Hamlet, I think it would be perfect as a play if it was set at a family Christmas dinner, because it's perfect for that. But the issue is this reading Hamlet, or seeing it as a play, never that fun. It's never that fun. It's not dull and it's not boring, but it's just stupid. At least to me. And people can like what they like. I hate Hamlet.
People are entitled to an opinion. It may be wrong, but they're still entitled to it.
I just don't like Hamlet. I don't, specifically because, and we're gonna get this to another character in another book I don't like main male protagonists who think the world is out to get them and can't get over that. Which leads us into Catcher in the Rye, another book that I read for fun. I was like, yes, I have this book, let me read Catcher in the Rye. If I was 13, maybe I would have enjoyed it. That's a strong maybe. I was 21, and all I kept asking myself is, why is this little punk so upset? I mean, there are parts of that story that get really deep and are about some deep issues, but for a whole, I don't like the main character. We're gonna run into this problem that I forget main characters' names, and I refuse to look them up because I hate these books.
They don't deserve their name.
Exactly. So basically, Hamlet and Catcher in the Rye have the same problem with both of them. They're about whiny male protagonists who think the world's out to get them when the world's not. They're actually working against the world most of the time. Not into it. Not for me in the story. Maybe 13-year-old me would have liked that. Old me, not.
If you remember our last week's episode about positive and negative character development and how, your antagonist and your protagonist don't necessarily have to be good or bad people. Just because they're a villain doesn't mean, they're not the main character, etc.
They just have to be interesting and not make me want to throttle them every time they speak. I have a lot of issues. And then with my other two books, same vein, I have big issues. And a lot of this is stemming from the fact that I'm an English major and I have to read books. And some of these books encapsulate on themes that are important in literature history. Does not mean I have to like them. My biggest issue is this theme in early feminist literature where for a woman to be free, she has to die.
Like most lesbian movies.
Yeah, except these girls aren't even lesbians.
Nope.
They're just ladies. And I'm talking about The Awakening by Kate Chopin and Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. They're both books. In fact, they're almost the same exact book. One's just French and then one's American, I believe.
You can just @ Cassie on Twitter and correct her.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I don't care enough about The Awakening. I read it twice, and if you want to correct me, I'll be like, cool, good on you.
Why'd you read it twice?
Because I had it in 2 different English classes.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and I hated it the first time I read it.
Yikes.
So, they're both about ladies who feel trapped in their marriage. Both have extramarital affairs. They find a freedom in it, and then I think eventually has to quit the affair for some reason. Either it's moral dilemma or it's actually a physical thing. I can't remember exactly what happens in both the books. I think in The Awakening, it's a moral dilemma.
Didn't Madame Bovary get turned into a movie with Ezra Miller?
I think so. I don't care enough about it. I try to avoid Madame Bovary whenever I can. But by the end of the novel, they're like, cool, the only way I can be free is by killing myself. Which is a strong theme in literature during that time when it came to feminist literature. I'm tired of it. In The Awakening, she walks into an ocean and she drowns. In Madame Bovary, she takes poison and she dies. In another one of Kate Chopin's short stories, she falls out of like a window or she gets faint of heart. I can't remember exactly, but she dies. Basically, if you want to be free, you die.
Gee, Chekhov, why is that rifle above the door?
I hate you.
That's fair. I'm funny.
You're hilarious. But no, and it's just one of those things that it's not a theme I like. A theme where that is done well, but not in the death sense that I love is A Doll's House.
Oh, yes, A Doll's House is really
so good. And it's such a feminist play that we had an argument in my English class in college that it wasn't a feminist play, and I looked at all these boys and went, what?
I'll throw down.
Exactly. But she doesn't kill herself. She instead goes, cool, I'm going to take my money and I'm going to leave. I may not be financially stable after this because technically you have the money.
And she may have scammed somebody to
She
get it.
might have scammed someone, but at least she's crafty.
But it's her money.
But she leaves. She wants that independence. I'm just over the theme of ladies having to kill themselves to get freedom. It was good for its time, but at the same point, there's so many things that are good for its time that are just shitty now.
Ladies, this year, it's about loving yourselves and getting help for mental illnesses.
2K18, the year of love.
I'm here for it. I'll validate the fuck out of anyone. You're listening to this? I love you. Mean it. Respect.
I respect you. I think you're pretty okay.
Wink.
Wink. No, those are my main novels. There's another one on there, but it's not on the list that we wrote. But there's
okay,
another.
It's gonna be like I wrote Hamlet twice.
Yeah, it's because I hate Hamlet. If you can't tell, this is kind of our fun podcast because we haven't done a podcast in a while, and I really, really hate Hamlet.
We're just having fun.
But there was a book called The Black Unicorn that I don't even remember what it's about. But I did not like that book for some reason. And if anyone's read The Black Unicorn, I can't even remember who it's by. But if anyone's read it, please let me know whether or not I need to revisit that book again. Because if I should, I will. But if anyone else thinks it was shitty, nah, not gonna do it. Don't remember the author either. I picked up a book one time at a book sale, went, cool, I'm gonna buy this book. Read the book, was like, man, I'm sorely disappointed. Threw the book into the Goodwill bin and never heard about it again.
Jesus Christ.
I looked it up on Goodreads the other day. It has really great reviews, and I don't know why. I'm wondering if it's like Catcher in the Rye, where it has really great reviews, but it's shitty.
This is a great segue into my list, unfortunately.
Yeah, Sam, tell me what books you hate so I can feel less of a vindictive bitch.
So, I only have 2 books that I hate, and 1 book that makes me extraordinarily uncomfortable. I'm going to talk about, like, the lesser of the 2 evils first, and the book I read was called The Queen Soprano by Carol Dines, and I read that when I was in middle school. I was like, oh, I sing! This is going to be great! I read it. It's more or less about a young woman whose mother is trying to force her off to marriage, but all she wants to do is sing, and somebody of the queen's retinue heard her singing and is like, oh, you're gonna come sing for the queen. There's a rape scene in it. That's pretty
That you
graphic.
read in middle school?
That I read in middle school.
Nice.
Changed me forever. And like the worst part, her mother arranged the rape.
That's awful, and I don't like that in the book.
Yeah, it made me so uncomfortable, and I felt super violated reading this book as a young girl. It was also to the person that her mother was trying to pressure her to marry that she didn't want to marry. She ends up running off and becoming a nun.
The way you fix everything. Just become a nun.
I was super unsatisfied with the ending. I was very upset.
I don't blame you. That does not sound like a book I'd ever want to read.
I read this for fun. Because I hate myself.
Isn't that the worst?
It is. The second book that I don't hate this with a blinding passion as like my top, but I read this for class. It's A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I think everybody's read this book at one point.
I actually have not.
Oh, good.
I have stayed away from it. I'm eventually going to read it because I think it's on my bookshelf.
It's so hard. It's so fucking hard to read. Oh my god.
Yeah, but you have to appreciate the fact that he milked them for what it was worth.
He really did.
He got paid for every word he wrote. I'd be adding words left and right in there.
Same. Like, and I don't hate him for like the fact that he wrote all of that and it got really wordy and stuff because he did get paid by the word. I hate it because he starts off with some symbolism, and then he gets off on a tangent, and he gets off on a tangent of that tangent, and then he gets off on a tangent of that tangent of that tangent.
So you mean our conversations?
Yes. But then he goes back to the original subject, which is the plot of the book. And you're just like, I'm sorry, where are we? My brain is trying to do cartwheels to figure out where the fuck happened.
How not to book, listeners. How not to book.
Yeah, please, you're not paid by the word anymore. Please do not. Be concise. I'm begging you. Your readers will thank you later. And then now it's time for the book that I hate. So when I was a little babu freshman in college,
Ooh, what?
right?
Tiny.
Wow.
That was a long time ago.
We have a common book that like everybody's supposed to have read for freshman year, and you get to go to book discussions for it, and the author actually comes and does a talk with us. The book was actually written by one of the professors at the college I went to, which, in case you're wondering, it was KU. And that book is The Center of Everything by Laura Moriarty. I fucking hated this book. I actually did get to ask her a question, because I was so full of rage.
Did you ask her why she would write such a bad book?
I sure did. No, I asked her, God, it's been years. I can't remember exactly what I asked her. I think I asked her when it was written. And she like gave a talk, but The Center of Everything is more or less about a girl in Kansas who, it's a coming of age story is what it is. It's told in stream of consciousness, which I hate. I really fucking hate stream of consciousness. I cannot get, like, I can't read things with present tense because it does not work for me. And that's just a personal preference. Like, there wouldn't be a lot of books written in present tense if people didn't like them, so.
Yeah. Though there's not many books that are written in present tense or stream of consciousness more so.
Yeah.
Not that I've seen.
Yeah, it's not, I think it's more common amongst, like, young adult books, but this book was more or less, it did kind of hit home because it's about this little girl that, you know, grows up and wants to be a scientist, and the way it's written is just difficult. You have specific memories, quote, that are like very focused and like tell like detailed, intricate like bits of her life, and then a time lapse that's just blurry and just made me mad because it wasn't written well. During her talk, she confessed that her initial major was not writing, and she decided to go to grad school for writing, and ended up going...
That's a choice.
It sure is. She ended up going to this little place, I can't remember what it is, but like you have to like be accepted into this program, and you're just sent to the East Coast to write for like a while and like finish a book. It really is. And I was really upset and jealous because I was like, I'm from the East Coast. I want to go back. Fuck you. You don't deserve it.
I'm not from anywhere, but like I'll take the East Coast.
But and she was like, yeah, and so like I wrote this 14 years ago, and that was 4 years ago, so it's been almost 20 years since she's written this book, and it did not age well, in my opinion. Just the grammar is not, like, yes, it's told from the point of view of a young girl, like, growing up and being jealous of her beautiful friend, who inevitably gets pregnant by the girl's childhood crush that the friend ends up dating, and just, it's a fucking trip. I hated it so much, like, it just, I was mad at all the decisions she was making, like, and I understand, like, children make foolish decisions, but, like, this,
well, but there's a difference, because I've gone back and read some of my young adult novels that I have. There's a difference between a character making a bad decision that you can see is because of their age, because I've definitely read that, and people just making bad decisions in sake of, like, making a book dramatic as fuck.
Yeah, like, it's just... I hated this book. I hated this book a lot. I think when I finished reading it, I threw it at a wall really hard.
I don't blame you. I remember when Beja did that with a book. She put it in a freezer.
I can't fault her for that.
That's a Twilight book.
Which one?
I think New Moon.
Yeah, I really can't fault her for that one. I was in the middle... Well, I finished my French final, and I was reading Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk, and I got to a specific twist in it, and I'm not going to ruin any of Chuck's books at all. Like, anytime I will address Chuck's books, they're going to remain spoiler-free, because the twists are too fantastic. But I threw this book in the middle of my French classroom.
Oh, see, in my French classroom, I was reading third book of Song of Ice and Fire, and... If you read that third book, you know what happens in it, and I got to that scene, and tears just streaming down my face.
Yeah.
Have you ever cried in the middle of a French class? It's weird.
Yeah, but not for the reasons you think.
It's weird.
I mean, when I was a small bean, I was reading the Warrior Cat series, and I got to one of the cat deaths, and I started sobbing.
Okay, but like I know we're talking about books we hate, but I would like to throw this out as a series I love right now that I've started rereading, Redwall.
Yay!
Anyone who's ever read those books, I tell you, go back and read them. They are so not children's literature. Like, they're children themed, but if you read them, they're about on point as to what, like, I would say Percy Jackson to, like, I would say young adult literature. I would say this is extremely young adult. They literally describe people dying, and by people, I mean hares, because everyone is an animal in this book. I love Redwall. It's such a good series. And I just love it.
Yeah, I'm going to throw out a book as a recommendation since we just talked about books that you should not read. And actually, if you like any of the books or plays that we just mentioned...
Tell me why you like it.
Yes, please. Like,
I will still not like it, but I want to know why other people like these things because I just can't see it.
Oh, yeah, like tweet at us, comment in this, like comment... Don't comment on our Instagram. That'd be weird. That's different. But like,
comment on this video. Also, tell us books you hate, because I want to see other books people hate.
We will read them out. Like, just you can continue.
I will read them, and I will go, man, this is an awful book.
Oh yeah.
I'm a glutton for punishment.
But the book that I want to recommend is called The House of Special Purpose by John Boyne. I think it's Boyne. But it's one of my weird kind of loves as a genre is alternative historical fiction. One of my favorite movies is Inglourious Basterds.
Of course.
Because of course. But The House of Special Purpose is about the Romanov disappearance and Anastasia, and it's written forwards and backwards. So it's this man's present day, but also his past. And it's just so good. I ate that book up. Yum, yum, yum. But yeah, that's...
The most important book to read is The Night Circus.
Oh, yes.
If you have not read it already, it's a book series. It's just a book that I think everyone should read. I rarely recommend just solo books because I read a lot of series right now. It is a book that holds its own by itself, and it's such a beautiful love story without ever seeming like a love story all the way through.
It does not start off, like, when you read it, you're like, oh, this isn't a love story, and then, like, you read it and you go...
You get to the end and you go, wow, this was so delicately played that I didn't see it coming, and I'm in love with it.
It literally smacks you out of nowhere.
It's such a good book. Everyone should... Just read it.
Cassie and I bonded hella over it because, like,
Yeah.
I found it at a bookstore. I went, oh, this seems good. Cassie, you'd love this. And I gave it to her, and she screaming for days.
I don't do well with reading because I'll read and then I'll want to scream about it. In fact, I think that's what my Twitter is going to become, is just me reading and screaming into the void about what I'm reading.
Oh, I am currently reading Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson, which is the third book in the Way of Kings. I have been texting my brother, who's loaning it to me on his Kindle, live updates as I'm reading, because it's his fault. He introduced me to this series when I was in high school. I need Brandon Sanderson to answer me on Twitter, please, at Brandon. Is Shallon okay? Is she? I'm worried. Anyway, it's a very good series. All the books are 1,000+ pages, so if you need something hefty to dig into, it's fantasy, it's very good, it's multiple perspective, and Brandon Sanderson is my biggest reason why my world building is so extensive. If you really like world building and you really like complex stories, this is definitely a series to read.
I'm eventually gonna read it. I have a lot of books on my bookshelf right now, as anyone who has seen my room tests.
You should definitely take a picture and post it.
I have before, but I will do it again. I have over 100 books on that shelf that are books that I've either haven't read yet or are rereading for the sake of I either don't remember what happened in them, or in the case of Game of Thrones, really wants to reread it. I have another book on there that I've read several times throughout growing up. It's like a young adult fiction book, but it's about my favorite thing, which is this girl gets sucked into a virtual reality game, but then it haywires, and so she has to win the game to get out.
What is it?
It's called Heir Apparent. I won't vouch for it yet because I haven't reread it in a while, so, like, things might be different than what I remember.
If it was about a hairdresser, it would be Hair Apparent. I'm really proud of that one.
I'm not proud of you.
That's fair.
But it's I have a lot of books on that bookshelf, and I just keep buying more because, I will walk into a used bookshop, or I will walk into more likely a thrift store to go clothes shopping, and I will go, oh, they have a book section. Oh, it's buy 4 get 1 free. I need to buy 5 books, and then I'll find 5 books, but then one of the books I find is part of a series. So I go on Amazon, and I'm like, hey, how much can I get this whole series for? Oh, only $10? Let's go. And that's how I have so many books.
And it's just, it's a wild fucking time.
It's a problem. If anyone could help me stop, I won't listen to you, but I could use it.
By helping Cassie, she means recommend more books for her.
Recommend me more books
If you love us, you'll send us books from the Strand in New York City. Because I love that place.
It's such a good place. Such a nice place. But that's
it.
That's it. Those are my books I hate. We just really wanted to have a salty as fuck.
This is not the last of these.
Oh
either.
no, we have a lot. I have a lot of salt in my veins.
We all do. My personality is 95% salt. Fun fact.
That makes a lot of sense. Are you one of those salt candles?
Yes.
Well, I think we're going to
we got a jet.
We got a jet. We have pizza coming, so like I'm into this. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll talk to you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.